The story began in the Bengal Presidency in 1881. There was a little girl named Bulbul, a curious, bright-eyed child. At the tender age of 5, she is to be wed to a wealthy landlord. Indraneel was a kind-hearted and respected man in the community. He had 2 brothers, Mahendra, his identical twin who was mentally underdeveloped, and Satya, his younger brother around Bulbul's age. After marriage, Bulbul wakes up feeling confused and disheartened. Satya decides to distract her with a story. He spun a horror tale of a witch who lived in a tree and terrorized people during the night. As Satya narrates the story, Bulbul mistakenly believes him as her husband. Upon arriving at the palace, Bulbul discovers that Indraneel is her husband. However, she had already formed a strong bond with Satya, and they continued to spend most of their time together. Bulbul found solace and companionship in Satya's presence, making the palace feel like a true home. 20 years passed, and Satya had grown into a successful and well-educated man. He had traveled to London to pursue his education and returned to his hometown after 5 years. Upon returning to the palace, Satya learns that Mahendra had passed away 3 years ago, and Indraneel had left the palace. Satya wanted to meet with Bulbul, but she was preoccupied with a meeting involving their driver and his family. The driver was marrying again, and Bulbul wanted to ensure his first wife would not be mistreated or neglected. Satya observed Bulbul from a distance and saw how much she had changed since they were children. The innocent, shy girl from his childhood memories had blossomed into a wise and intelligent woman. Bulbul led Satya to visit Benadini, Mahendra's widow, living in a temple after his death. Benadini shared her grief with Satya, telling him that the witch had killed her husband. However, Satya and Bulbul found it hard to believe that the stories they had shared as children could have come true. Satya decides to hunt down the witch, to end the rumors and bring peace to the village. He planned to venture out at night when the mysterious figure was said to be active. But, before leaving, he visits Bulbul and finds an unknown man, Dr. Sudip, with her. Satya felt uneasy seeing another man near Bulbul. Dr. Sudip left to treat a Master Dinker wife who had broken her leg, but Bulbul doubted that woman's injury was just not a simple fall. The hunt began at night. Satya and his group searched for the witch. In the process, Master Dinka is left behind. The atmosphere becomes foggy. A woman appeared from behind and attacked him, leading to his death. His scream caught the attention of Satya and Dr. Sudip. Both followed the sound and met with each other. Satya found this encounter strange and suspicious. After some time, they discovered Master Dinka's dead body hanging upside down from a tree. Next day, Satya returned to the forest for further investigation of the murder. He carefully examined the scene, trying to piece together the events from the previous night, and becomes convinced that a man has killed Master Dinka. Back at the palace, Satya questions Benadini about Dr. Sudip, trying to learn more about his background and intentions. In a flashback, it's revealed that Benadini had an affair with Inderleen. She always wanted to be his wife, but Inderleen was fond of Bulbul. She was jealous of Bulbul. She knew Bulbul liked Satya, as they both grew up playing together. Benadini took advantage of the situation and started poisoning Inderleen's mind against Bulbul. When Inderleen notices that Bulbul spends time with Satya writing stories, being jealous, he decides to send Satya to London for his education. This decision upsets Bulbul, as Satya is her only childhood friend. When she pleaded with Inderleen not to send Satya away, it only made Inderleen more determined to separate them. The next day, Inderleen took Satya to Calcutta for documentation work. Bulbul anxiously waited for Satya and her husband to return each day. Finally, after a few months, Inderleen returned, but Satya didn't. This left Bulbul devastated, as she lost her only friend who made the place feel like home. Unsatisfied with her previous actions, Benadini continued to manipulate Inderleen against Bulbul. She told him that Bulbul was writing a novel with Satya, and that she had seen them meeting secretly. Inderleen's jealousy and anger spiraled out of control. He went to talk to Bulbul in her bedroom, but she wasn't there. Instead, he found Bulbul and Satya's names written on a tiny scrap of paper. Enraged, he grabbed a heated rod and searched for Bulbul. When he saw her in the bathroom, he dragged her out and brutally beat her with the rod. breaking her legs. To treat Bulbul's injuries, he called Dr. Sudip and instructed him to cover up his actions. In preset, after a few days, another murder shocked the village. Satya and the local police intensified their efforts to solve the case. He was informed that a little girl was the only witness to the crime. However, she is in shock and has been treated by Dr. Sudip. As Satya delved deeper into the investigation, he couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off about Dr. Sudip. It seemed that every murder had some connection to the doctor. Dr. Sudip visits Bulbul in her writing room to bid her farewell. He explains that he needs to leave for another village to treat people as a plague spreads in that area. From afar, Satya noticed him talking with Bulbul. When Bulbul returned to the palace, Satya expressed his disapproval of Bulbul's interactions with Dr. Sudip, pointing out that, for a married woman, it was inappropriate for her to spend time with another man in the absence of her husband. He accused her of tarnishing the family's reputation and insisted that it was time for her to return to her hometown. Bulbul laughed at Satya's accusations and told him he was just like his brothers. A flashback shows after Indraleen left the palace. Mahendra, Benodini's lunatic husband, brutally raped Bulbul. The pain was so intense that she stopped breathing for a short time. Fearing she was dead, Mahendra snuck back to his room. As the moon turned into a blood moon, Bulbul regained consciousness and started screaming. Hearing her scream and seeing Mahendra in terror, Benodini hurried to Bulbul's room. Benodini cleaned Bulbul up and told her to remain silent about the incident. While listening to Benodini, Bulbul appeared to have completely transformed. When Dr. Sudip arrived, he was worried that someone had removed Bulbul's legs from the suspenders where he had placed them for support. As he put her legs back into the suspenders, he noticed blood on Bulbul's lap and realized she had been raped. He tried to convince Bulbul to reveal who had assaulted her, but she refused. Despite receiving long-term treatment, Bulbul's feet were permanently damaged, resulting in a twisted position. At present, Dr. Sudip was about to leave the village, but suddenly, Satya confronted him with a gun, revealing that he had been harboring resentment against him ever since he first saw him with Bulbul. Meanwhile, Bulbul and Benodini were attending Mahendra's death anniversary prayer meeting. As they approached the entrance, the driver's son stopped Bulbul, crying uncontrollably. He told her that his father had married a new wife and thrown his mother out of their house, which led her to commit suicide. When Bulbul asked where his father was, the boy informed her that he was driving Satya and Dr. Sudip to Calcutta. Satya confronted Dr. Sudip, accusing him of crimes and insisting that he would only believe in his innocence if the witch appeared while they traveled through the forest. Just at that moment, their wagon came to an abrupt halt. Frantically, Satya rushed outside and discovered the dead body of his driver. The witch appeared before him. Satya attempted to shoot her, but she vanished into thin air. He started chasing her. When Dr. Sudip stepped out of the wagon, he saw Bulbul. The bullet gravely injured her. But it was already too late because Satya had set the whole forest on fire, and the fire was spreading rapidly. Bulbul climbed to the topmost branch of a tree, sitting alone and crying, remembering her past. Alone and in pain, she cried as memories of her past flooded her mind. Those terrifying incidents transformed Bulbul into a divine force, unafraid of anything. She killed every man in the village who had molested or hurt a woman. Master Dinka assaulted his wife, which led to his death. Similarly, the girl who witnessed the recent murder was a victim whom the deceased man was about to rape. The same thing happened with the driver. Satya recalls that Bulbul loved climbing trees. He breaks down and cries when he realizes he has shot Bulbul. Tragically, Bulbul dies, consumed by the fire. In the movie's epilogue, after receiving Satya's letter, Indraleen returns to the palace 1 year later. The palace is deserted, with grass growing all over. Satya writes to him, informing him that he left the house because the three brothers had murdered an innocent girl. When Indraleen gets to bed, suddenly Bulbul's spirit appears before him, seeking to exact her incomplete revenge. And this is how the movie ends. In the haunting tale of Bulbul, female characters, including Bulbul herself, are subjected to violence and abuse by men. These women endure unimaginable suffering and pain, reflecting the unfortunate reality for many women worldwide. However, Bulbul discovers her own inner strength and transforms into a divine force, breaking free from the cycle of abuse that has haunted her, ultimately reminding us all that the spirit of a woman is not easily broken and that within each woman lies the potential for transformation, strength, and justice. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. If you have any suggestions for future movies, please leave them in the comments section below. Until next time, take care. Goodbye.